Hello and welcome back to another Sky Sports Fantasy Football Game Week preview. We're just off the back of a very hectic game week, and mainly it was last night with the Phil Foden hat-trick causing a lot of rank gains or rank losses if you didn't own Foden. For me personally, you can see my rank just below me. I'm sitting 6,500 in the world, which are in the UK and Ireland if that's what we want to go with, which is a 500 place rank drop from last week. I did manage to get myself up to about 5k on the dot before yesterday's game, and then I never really made any transfers other than Haaland, so I only had Haaland and Rodri last night, and I ended up dropping 1,500 places from that. Second team is not doing well whatsoever. I had Garnacho in that team get 16 pointer, but I've still managed to drop about 6,000 places in that team, so that team is way out of it now, and it really is just about gambling and throwing some random transfers in there, I think, just for a bit of fun. I actually had Foden in that second team as well, so I had Foden and Garnacho and still managed to drop lots of places. We are starting off as usual with the average remaining transfers anyway, which are obviously based on Friday, so this doesn't include this weekend's transfers. Top 10 is the only one that's actually increased since last week. We have went up 1.7 since then, so the top 10 now has an average of 13.6. Top 100 is now down to 15.5, and the top 1,000 is 17.9. So again, if you are sitting just outside the top 1,000 or around there, at least you know the average transfer count in there is about 18, so if you're maybe sitting on 26, 27 transfers, you do still have a huge advantage and still have a massive chance of finishing in the top 1k. Looking at our popular transfers in and out this week as well, we do have Erling Haaland massively at the top at 9.81%. Obviously, with the news that he is back and getting to see the lineup last night, of course he's going to be a very popular transfer, and he is the most popular player in the game. He is probably the best player in the game as well, and he's everyone's captain whenever he plays. So, of course, he is going to be there. De Bruyne as well, in second, still quite far above the other three, 4.26%, so he seemed to have been a pretty popular transfer as well, I imagine, last night. Followed by James Maddison, obviously just back from injury. Personally, I think that's probably a bit more of a casual transfer. Obviously, they do have missing or a blank game week coming up. I think it's game week 29 in Sky. They don't have one. So for me personally, I would have been waiting, I think, a couple of weeks for that one. Diogo Jota and Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Liverpool duo, again a very popular double transfer. And I don't think Trent's really been too amazing so far. I think he's just kind of been steadied back into the team, kind of coming off the bench and stuff. Jota looks a great option. I think while Salah's out, he's definitely probably the best Liverpool pick in the attack. Then looking at the transfers out, Darwin Núñez is at the top of that list. I think people just seem to be getting tired of him. I think he hit the bar like 4 times or something, like in the last game, and it's just not really working for him. I think I seen a stat where if every time he hit the post or the bar, he'd be like 5 goals ahead in the Golden Boot race. So it just seems very unlucky, and I think if you're a Darwin Núñez owner, it's obviously going to be very frustrating, so I can see why people have started to bring him out. João Pedro followed in second place. Obviously there was rumours of an injury with him, but he did seem to be alright. Started the game and scored as well, so that would be very unfortunate if you brought him out. Ollie Watkins, a very surprising one as well. Obviously he ended up with a big haul at the weekend against Sheffield, so I'm hoping these transfers were after that haul and people haven't took him out before that. Saka, another one who scored at the weekend and has now came out of a lot of teams. I would assume a lot of people would have brought him out yesterday for Man City players. I think maybe like Saka to De Bruyne would have been a pretty popular one, so I imagine most people got the points out of him over the weekend. Then Isak, obviously another player who was injured and missed out at the weekend. So as we start to look at returning players, Heung-min Son is going to be quite high up that list. Of course, he is still playing in the Asian Cup with Korea. They have made the semi-final and they're playing against Jordan today. I think kick-off's about 3 o'clock, so it should be about the same time that this video comes out. So make sure to keep an eye on that game, because if they are going to go on and win that game. They are going to play in the final, which is on the 10th of February in game week 27. If they do go out today, then there is a chance that Son is back for the weekend to play against Brighton. However, obviously, if they do make the final, playing against what should be Iran, but maybe Qatar, depending on who wins that semi-final, he's not going to be back until game week 28, which will be the 17th. Gives him a full week's recovery to get back and stuff as well. So I think absolute maximum, Son is going to be back for the 17th of February. Unless obviously he picks up an injury in today's game or at the weekend. But realistically, we're looking at it, and we know that Spurs now have a blank game week on game week 29, which means it's probably not optimal to be bringing him in straight away. I think when you're looking at possibly bringing him, you're looking at the start of March now rather than February, now with that blank game week in place. I think he does look a good captaincy option. We will look at it when we look at the fixture gains, but he does look like a good captaincy option for that Palace game in game week 30 as well. So if you're looking to bring Son in as soon as possible, I think the 2nd of March is going to be the best time for that. Still no return date for Mo Salah either. However, he has posted this on his Instagram story, which means he is obviously back in the gym. He is back training. We did see a Liverpool training picture of him as well, training away from the team, so we still don't really know how long that's going to be. We are definitely going to be wanting him back for the weekend if he is going to be available with the home game against Burnley. He is probably a captaincy on that day as well. However, we aren't going to see the lineups as it is a 3 PM kickoff, so we're just going to have to wait for leaks for that one. If not, can always look at bringing him in later, but with the single against Luton coming up soon as well, we are definitely going to be wanting him as soon as possible. So hopefully he is back, and hopefully we can get him in as soon as possible. So for captaincies this week, it does look pretty straightforward. We do have Haaland on Saturday. Obviously, he is now back, which means he is probably going to be the perma captain for most people now. Do have the early kick-off against Everton, which I don't think is going to be a really easy game, but I think it's just an obvious pick there. You go with Haaland at home. Some other options, I don't like. Obviously, if Salah's back, we do have him in the back there. If he is going to be back, you're probably going to want to captain him against Burnley. I think he is the better captain than Haaland is against Everton. Everton do look pretty decent defensively. I think it would be very ballsy to go against Haaland this weekend. Obviously, he didn't do anything apart from getting an assist against Brentford yesterday. He didn't look on top form. Maybe he does still have to do some training, but they do still have a full week to get ready for that game on Saturday. So for me, it would be Haaland. If Salah's back, if we get rumours that Salah's going to be back, if we get leaks he's going to be in the team, he'll be transferred into my squad and probably will get the captaincy as well. On Sunday, I think you could maybe go a bit different. I do think Watkins will be the best captaincy. I don't think Man United are as difficult a fixture as people may think. I do think with it being a home fixture for Villa as well, and off the back of a massive win over Sheffield, I think there's a very good chance that Watkins scores again. I've got Saka as a bit of a different one. I do think, though, it's an away game against West Ham. Saka isn't one for scoring 2-3 goals, whereas Watkins definitely is. I don't think I would be captaining Saka, but it is always an option. Personally, I think Watkins is going to be the better pick. And then on Monday, I think Cole Palmer is just the only pick there. I don't think there's anyone else that anyone's really going to have either, to be honest. But Palmer is the standout pick there. He's Chelsea's best player this season. There isn't anyone for Palace that stands out, so for me, Cole Palmer is the captain. Okay, so looking at some fixture gains then, I don't really think there's too much going on. It's a pretty standard game week with your Saturday, Sunday and Monday games moving straight on to your Saturday, Sunday, Monday games a week later. So normally during these times you don't really get too many fixture gains. Kind of having a look, like if you wanted to make a transfer for Saturday on to Sunday, again, not really too much going on. We do have obviously the blanks. We'll look at the blanks in a wee second. Wolves, for example, can transfer them out on Sunday for a 3-for-1 for Arsenal, a 3-for-1 for Villa. Maybe if you're someone who owns Cunha and you want to get Watkins in for a couple games, that's available there, and then you can move back to Cunha for this single here. Spurs also have one, but we'll look at their blank game week in a minute. Is that it? I think that might be it actually. So just Wolves really who have too much. Sheffield there as well. Only have one game. I don't think anyone's going to have any Sheffield players though. In terms of Monday, we've also got that Chelsea and Crystal Palace single, which I think everyone's going to have Cole Palmer for anyway, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Looking at the blanks, obviously we can see this huge gap here with Chelsea not having a game. When we look at that, Chelsea obviously play on the Saturday of this game, then they don't play until obviously they have a blank the week after that, and then they don't actually play until the Monday on the week after that. So there's a huge gap there with the Chelsea players. So again, it could be one where you want to keep Palmer, have him for the captaincy, play him against Man City, and then look to take him out on the Sunday, because you're literally looking at some 4-for-1s, 5-for-1s in other places. If you're maybe someone who was considering skipping the single game day between Everton and Palace, you're getting a 5-for-1 there over Cole Palmer if you've got the budget available. So you can see there with say you wanted a Everton player, for whatever sake, bring an Everton player in for that single game day, then you get them for Brighton, then you get them for West Ham, and then you get them for Man United, and obviously with the captain you're getting double points here, so it's technically a 5-for-1 in the time where Chelsea only play one game. So it's an option if you have money there for Palmer. You're definitely going to be wanting him back though, because he does have this Newcastle single game day. I don't imagine too many people are on Newcastle players right now, and with the value that Palmer brings, you're probably going to want him straight back in anyway. So you're making 2 transfers. You're really wanting your substitute or your transfer to be getting about 20 points over Palmer here. And obviously if you're just considering starting points, you're getting 10 points there from Everton, and 2 points. So you're 8 ahead just from the starting points. You're looking for maybe 2 goals, 2 clean sheets, whatever really. About 12 points in returns over those 4 games, which does probably look worth it. And obviously if you were originally looking to skip that game, it looks like a pretty decent move. We also have a big gap here for Spurs as well, which is why I was saying about maybe missing out on Son for a little bit until they're officially back, and the blanks out of the way. So again, 4-for-1s, Man United 4-for-1, Everton and Palace again you're looking at 5-for-1s there. Even Brentford, maybe it's an option for like Ivan Toney, if you want him for the captaincy against West Ham. Again, West Ham only have 2 games in this time, so maybe you want Toney as the captain instead of someone like Bowen who we've been talking about. Again, another option. I don't know how many people are going to have Spurs players either. Again, maybe if you've got like Romero or Van de Ven in, or Porro, it could be another good option. Liverpool also have a blank game week, but they do have this Luton single like right in between it, so it's probably not worth it taking them out. They don't really have much of a gap in there. And then the other one is Luton, and again I don't really think anyone's going to have Luton players, but again they do have that single against Liverpool. So really it's just going to be Chelsea and Spurs players we're going to be looking at taking out, because they do just have such a massive gap between games. And I do think if you're looking to skip the Palace and Everton game, that definitely looks like a good option. We also got our March fixtures announced as well, which is, I believe, from the 9th, which are these fixtures. They just got announced yesterday. Again, not too many fixture games there. All the games are very packed together, with a lot of Saturday, Sunday games in there. Only one new single game day announced, and that was Newcastle and Chelsea. Again, most of us are probably going to go back to Cole Palmer for that anyway. I don't really know on the run. I suppose Chelsea have Burnley coming up, so you probably are going to want Cole Palmer. It's an easy captaincy there, but some decent fixtures for Newcastle after that as well. We can look at the new fixtures in a bit of an easier format here as well. This is the 3 new confirmed game weeks. Again, looking at the captaincies I've kind of picked out, I've went for Solanke on the Saturday. Obviously they're playing against Sheffield United, the worst defence in the league. I think he's a pretty obvious captain there. Sunday I went for Haaland, Monday I've went for Palmer. On this Saturday in game week 32 I've went for Rasmus Højlund. Now I wanted to speak about him as a bit of a differential. Obviously playing against Sheffield, again as I said, worst defence in the league. Does look like a pretty decent captaincy. But if you are looking for someone who is a bit of a differential, we can look here at the fixtures. Obviously, Man United have some really good fixtures in there, except obviously the Man City game, but Luton, Fulham, Everton, Sheffield, mostly home games as well. And if you're really looking for like a differential captain, if you look at game week 28, this Sunday fixture here, Sheffield v Brighton and Luton v Man United, it's probably a captain that you could go for there as well. Even this Sunday, if you didn't want to go for Watkins or Saka, you could possibly bring Højlund in, captain him there. So there's 2 captaincies in the next 2 weeks. This week I probably wouldn't go against Haaland against Bournemouth. This week here, I wouldn't go for him against City. This week you could possibly go for him against Everton. That's 3 captaincies out of it. I do think Solanke is the better pick, but if you don't have Solanke, you could always go for Højlund. And then this Saturday against Sheffield United does look like a nice captaincy as well there. So you're getting potentially 4 captains if you wanted to go for Højlund as your striker spot, if you wanted to maybe cover some sort of Man U game. Looking at the fixtures in more detail, basically, we've got all the singles now here. The number of single match days, we have 2 for Chelsea, 2 for Palace, and 2 for Sheffield, and 2 for Brentford. And these are who I've picked out as the best captaincies from now up until the end of the confirmed fixtures. So it does look pretty easy, to be honest. We do have Haaland down there 8 times. Everyone else is just kind of there once. We've got Palmer twice, Son twice, Watkins, Gross, Pickford, Salah, Cunha, Tony, Saka, Solanke and Højlund. Again, a lot of these players are very popular players that we're already going to have. I don't really think there's too many out there captaincies. Obviously, we do have the Wolves single game day against Sheffield here, which we have switched to Cunha. It was originally Hwang, but Cunha definitely looks like the best player in the Wolves attack now. He is also an option as a captaincy here on this day. I did have him originally until I noticed Solanke was playing Sheffield, but you could go for Cunha against Fulham there as another decent captaincy if you don't have Solanke. And finally, looking at my team for the weekend, I did make one transfer this week, and that was Estupinian for Haaland. I would have preferred to have done Dunk, because then I can do Solanke straight to Salah. Now I'm unable to afford it, but I think with Estupinian, it just seems a little less reliable than Dunk does. I did go for Trippier as my captain on Saturday. He did get a goal and an assist, and he still ended up being like the worst possible captain choice to choose, so that didn't work out too well. I think obviously didn't expect them to concede 4 goals against Luton. Goal and assist, 9-pointer for me. Should have went for Dunk, he ended up with 12. Should have went for Gross, he ended up with 13. Should have went for Watkins, he ended up with 18. So really got the captaincy pick wrong, even though he still got 9 points and he got a goal and an assist, which normally you'd be absolutely buzzing with. But yeah, I actually thought I had a pretty decent weekly score here with 98, but you can see with my weekly rank just below, it's not as amazing as I thought. I think the captaincies really just let me down this week, and the fact I never really had any City players. Sunday I ended up going for Solanke. I think most people would have done the same anyway. Didn't own Saka either, who scored. And obviously Palmer ended up the better captaincy pick, even though they lost 4-2. So again, I think captaincies have really let me down a little bit. In terms of like plans and stuff, I don't really think I'm going to get too many more City players in. I think with Foden scoring a hat-trick, I would like to get him in, but I think there's just players I need to get in before that. Obviously next week I'm covered for captaincies, or this week I'm covered for captaincies. Next week we do have a couple singles with Everton Palace. I'm covered off with Pickford. With Man City Brentford, covered off with Haaland, and Liverpool Luton, I'm covered with Van Dijk, but I would obviously prefer to get a striker in. At which point I think Trippier might be the one to come out there. If not, it'll be one of Solanke and Watkins, probably Solanke, but Solanke does still have some nice fixtures with Burnley, Sheffield, Wolves, like a very nice fixture run after that. So I'm really not too sure on that one. Newcastle have Bournemouth there, so it's probably going to be like that. This is why I had Trippier here, because I wanted these 3 fixtures out of him. So once that's done, I'll probably move him on, whether that's to Salah, whether that's to another Man City player, still yet to see. But that is the plans for now. Captaincies this week is going to be Erling Haaland against Everton. It's going to be Watkins against Man United, and it's going to be Palmer on the Monday. Again, pretty straightforward with the captaincies. The second team, I made 2 transfers in this team. Took Estepinian out and went for Walker, and took Garnacho out and went for Haaland. So again, I had Garnacho in this team and I had Foden in this team, and I've still managed to drop 6,000 ranks somehow. I actually have no idea how I've possibly managed to do that, but I did. And that's what happened. I even had João Pedro in this team still, and I've dropped from 12,000 to 18,000. But again, not really too bothered about this team. I wanted to kind of have a couple City players to maybe try boost the rank up, but that didn't happen. So yeah, Haaland's going to be captain in here. This one's maybe a bit more difficult. I'll stick it on Bowen for now, and then Palmer can be the captain on Monday. So again, more transfers have been used in this team, down to 26 in that one, and really just having fun with this team. If I think someone's going to do well, I'll probably just bring them in now. This is really where we are strategizing and looking for the best players and stuff. So this is the team that you want to focus on. I wouldn't be looking at that second team and thinking or taking any ideas from that one. But that is going to end up this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Champions League is of course back next week, which means this week we're going to have some Champions League videos out regarding the whole overhaul kind of on the UCL fantasy game. So if you play UCL fantasy, make sure to turn on notifications so you know when those videos come out, but turn them on anyway because we do these videos every week for Sky. So again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next video.